Hello, everyone. Michelle Perta here, marriage coach for moms. I'm going to be talking to you guys about something that I hear about a lot, I get asked about a lot, and it comes up so much with my clients. And so it's all about the division of labor. So a member in this community basically said that she is having some trouble with her husband right now because she has higher standards of what clean means, which is very common for the female to have higher standards. And he hates clutter. And his way of fixing that is to just shove it somewhere. And they previously agreed on who would do what. And lately he's been complaining about doing one of those chores. So he had committed to doing dishes, and lately he's been complaining about doing them and how she doesn't ever do them, which is not true. And she got tired of listening to him complain, and so she started doing it instead, on top of all the other things. So she's just feeling like she's inundated with all of the responsibilities and that it's very unbalanced and unfair. So if you are in the same shoes as her, let us know in the comments. And as I share my thoughts and questions, let me know if you have any comments or questions as well, and then I'll address them as I see them. Okay, so when it comes to division of labor, you have to realize that no one likes to do any of this stuff. I'm sure you'll agree as well, right? Nobody likes to clean. If you do, can you come live with me? Nobody likes to clean. Nobody likes to do chores. It's just something that you have to do to be sane in where you're living, to live in a livable place. And so people are going to try and get away with doing as little as possible unless they have some strong sense of motivation to get them to do it. So if you are more of the clean type and you have the higher standard of clean, your motivation is your sanity, right? Seeing things out of place or dirty or messy and unorganized is going to get to you more strongly than to someone who doesn't have that same thing about them. So in this situation, her husband is not very motivated because it doesn't bother him. And so unfortunately, it's going to be screaming much louder at you to get it done than it will for him. And so this is why this topic needs to be approached from a different angle. And I'm going to explain to you what that means. So if you're in this position, you first need to understand, what is this doing to you? Him not contributing as much as you want him to, him not taking on more of a load and you relieving some of your load. So it's important to know, okay, so what is the impact of you doing it all? What is happening to you? Are you finding yourself more exhausted? Are you finding yourself more cranky, resentful, not wanting to spend time with him, nagging him all of the time? Think of the different ways that you are starting to show up to the family in a way that you don't like. That is the impact. Think about how you feel as a person and how much energy you now have left over, which is probably negative, because of this. This is the impact that needs to be communicated. That is the motivation I'm talking about, right? No husband will be like, yep, I'm going to voluntarily not do things so that I can hear my wife nag at me, so I can have my wife not want to spend time with me, so I can have my wife not want to physically connect with me because she's pissed at me all the time. have my wife snap at me every 5 seconds. No man is going to be like, yeah, sign me up for that. Okay. So if you can communicate how, if you guys were to sit down together and split up, divide up the responsibilities so that you don't feel this overwhelming pressure, overwhelming weight on you to do all of these things, then it will allow for you to be able to show up differently, right? And take the time to think about what that means. How will you show up differently? Will you be more grateful towards him? Will you be more likely to want to hang out with him, to want to engage in physical intimacy? Will you want to do nicer things for him? Will you have more energy to be patient, loving, kind, fun? Think of the different ways that this division of labor, if it were to work, would have a positive impact on you and your relationship. This is his motivation. Okay. Now, how do you do that? This requires sitting down and writing out every single thing that needs to be done on a regular basis, how often, and then have him add to it as well. This is a collaborative exercise. And my favorite way to go about this is to actually cherry pick each person's favorite things. We take turns, right? So for example, I really don't like vacuuming. I will wait until the last minute to do it, until it gets so obvious that the carpet needs to be vacuumed. That's when I'll vacuum. I also hate doing laundry. I hate folding. I don't mind putting it in the machine and transferring it. I hate taking it out. I hate folding it, and I hate putting it away. Okay, so there's always chores that we prefer to do. I'm not going to say we prefer to do, and then there's chores that we absolutely hate doing. Okay, so cherry pick, take your turn, cherry pick, and engage the kids if they're old enough to have them do things. Like I have my youngest son take his dishes to the sink. He's 4. He can handle that. I have my older son put dishes away. I also have him do his own laundry. I also have him roll the trash bins out. So there are things that your kids can help with, right? Setting a table, things like that. So sit down together as a family if your kids are old enough and cherry pick what you guys prefer to do. When you do this, instead of assigning, it adds a layer of buy-in. And when people buy in, that's them taking ownership. Like, okay, well, I chose that, so I'm more likely to do it versus someone telling me what to do, especially if anyone in your family doesn't like to be told what to do. I personally do not like to be told what to do. So for me to have a choice means a lot to me. That level of autonomy means a lot to me, okay? And then of course, you're gonna have things left over that nobody likes to do or prefers to do, and then you just divide it up. You keep cherry picking because there's always gonna be the thing that you prefer to do more in that list, even as it dwindles down to the things that nobody likes to do, okay? Now, if you're in the position where you guys have done this exercise before and it's no longer working, then it's time to have a talk, okay? I'm finding myself feeling very frustrated lately because I end up doing these things because it's not being done. So there's 2 reasons for this. It's either because there hasn't been an agreed upon time when it would be done, or time as in, it doesn't have to be exact time of day, but maybe like a period, like during the morning, during the day, during the evening. And you're getting worked up before giving them a chance to do it, right? So that's the first reason. The second reason could be that they're not following through. And so if that's the reason why it's not working, then you guys got to start over. Okay, this isn't working. You committed to doing this, but you're not doing this. So we need to figure out either figure out why you're not doing it. Maybe it's a reminder system, right? Maybe it's picking a different chore because they actually shouldn't have picked that at all. All right, it's time to get curious and figure out, okay, well, this needs to get done. That is a given. What do we need to do to make sure it gets done? If you're going to take it on, you're going to give something else away. So the point of it is to be fair, right? So in this situation, that the woman who posted about this said that her husband started complaining about doing dishes, and so she got so sick of hearing him complain, she took it on. Now, I get it. I get why you did that. And if you're doing this, this only transfers the issue to become a different issue. Your original issue is that you wanted more people to help. You wanted to do less. You wanted to be more of an even load. And instead, you said, I'm sick of hearing your nagging. I'm going to take it on. So now, not only is he not helping, you have more to do. You're going to feel more resentful and frustrated. And it's going to be a pretty crappy dynamic that's being created in your family. Okay? You're essentially saying, okay, if you nag about something enough, I will take it on and you will no longer have to do it. Essentially enabling him to do that the next time for whatever he doesn't want to do. He knows that you're going to end up doing it if he puts up enough of a fuss. Instead, I want you to approach it like, this isn't working. You had said that you would do this. For whatever reason, you're not. So do we need to revisit who does what? Or do we need to talk about when things need to be done? Can we agree on when things need to be done? Or would you like to do another chore and then we can trade? Okay. In terms of cleanliness standards, that's a bit tough. That always kind of falls more heavily on the person that's cleaner. And honestly, this takes a lot of patience and a lot of compassion as well. For the crumbs, I would just show him every time. Hey, can you empty that out? Hey, can you empty that out? Hey, can you empty that out? Right? I don't know how your husband is, but for my 10-year-old son, his awareness is just a lot less than my husband and I. And so it's not that he's actively trying to not do it. He just does not notice it. And so that to me boggles my mind, but it's not worth it to me to constantly berate him or ask him why. It's like, okay, well, if he's not going to do it the first time, he can waste more of his time by having me tell him do it and then to go do it. So if he's not going to finish the job, I'm going to point it out because it's not going to be falling on me because he didn't finish the job. Okay. And I think that's it. So if you have any specific questions about your specific situation, let me know in the comments and I will answer them. But it's really about having that buy-in and making sure that you don't back down. This is an agreement. You're going to follow through. If it doesn't work, break it apart and figure out what didn't work about it, what needs to change. And bring back that motivation piece, because obviously the house appearing clean is not enough of a motivation for him. So what would motivate him? Probably how you show up because of him doing it, right? So think about that, apply it, practice it, see how that changes things. And I'd love to know how that turns out for your specific relationship that has worked out for me, that has worked out for all of my clients. And so try it out, get curious. Of course, it's not going to be the same for everyone. So let me know